My husband, a beloved high school teacher, might be secretly cheating with a former student. Seeking advice on next steps and legal action. Original post, July 8, 2024. I am freaking out right now. My partner is a high school math teacher. He has been teaching for a decade now and has generally been praised by students, parents, other teachers, and the administration for how he does his job. We have been together for 7 years and got married in 2023. I have never worried about him being interested in his students. We have even discussed teacher-student relationships, and he has always expressed disgust, saying it is an abuse of power, even if the student is an adult. He has never been called out for being inappropriate, that I know of, never engaged with students over the weekend or summer, unless it is school-related, and even then, all contact is through school email or with parents. He generally refers to his students as his kids, and actively keeps a distance from developing too close of a relationship because he is young, attractive, and other male teachers recommended he do so. Here is what happened. Around March, we were at the movie theater one evening and I noticed a group of girls staring and pointing. I notified my partner, assuming they were his students, and he told me I was right. We did not go over to say hi. We have seen his students before out and about, and he says hi on a case-by-case basis but typically does not initiate, and they did not come to us. However, I noticed the rest of the girls playfully shoving one girl with lots of whispers, and the girl was staring at my husband sheepishly. I immediately thought she probably had a crush and honestly thought nothing of it until last weekend. We were celebrating Canada Day at a BBQ with family, and my husband was pretty wasted. At one point, he went to the bathroom and did not come back for so long. I was worried he was getting sick, so I checked on it. When I knocked and said it was me, he said he was okay and would be right out but did not unlock the door. He stayed in the bathroom for another 10 minutes. This was super unusual for him, but it could have been anything. Later that night, I woke up around 3 a.m. and he was not in bed. Worried again, I got up and found him on his phone in the living room. This is also unusual. When I asked what he was doing, he was definitely surprised and hit his phone screen. He said he could not sleep and did not want to wake me up by watching videos next to me in bed. We both went back to sleep together. The next morning, he was hungover and slept in. I went through his phone. I have never had a reason not to trust him, so I have never gone through his phone before. I found nothing of interest, except for the Snapchat app, which was not logged into. He used to use Snapchat but, from what I knew, had not in years. I honestly assumed nothing from finding the app and figured I was reading too much into things. Last night, I saw a Snapchat notification pop up on his phone while we were watching TV. It was out of the corner of my eye but the logo is too recognizable to mistake. My heart dropped because, knowing he was logged out last week, it means he is definitely using it secretly. I pretended like I did not notice and a couple of minutes later, he got up to take a long poop. I cried while he was in the bathroom. Shortly after, I said I was going to bed early and he stayed up without me. He is on summer break. When I got up for work, he was still passed out. I went on his phone and found no Snapchat app. It was then that I knew something was shady for sure, and when I looked up Snapchat on the home screen, it was there, just hidden in a folder of apps disguised as cooking and workout apps. He had not logged out of Snapchat, and when I opened it, there was only one conversation with a real human, and it was a girl. There was no evidence of conversation between them because, for those who do not know, Snapchat deletes previous messages for good. I was ready to confront him for cheating with basically no evidence but decided to keep snooping for something concrete. In that same disguised folder, I found that he had OnlyFans downloaded. The only content creator he was subscribed to had the same username as the woman on Snapchat, but it is his student. The one from the theater, who was blushing. I have never recognized a face so fast. I am 100% certain. We make fun of OnlyFans simps all the time, so I was already disgusted, but I actually threw up when I found this. I was scared I was going to wake him up and genuinely did not know what to do, so I put his phone back and left for work. At work, I did some sleuthing and was able to find the girl's Instagram and Twitter accounts. She is 18 and from grad photos I can tell with certainty that she attended my husband's school. The same OnlyFans link was in her Twitter bio. He has texted me normally throughout the day, and I have not responded to any but to tell him I have to go to my parents tonight, but in reality, I am still at work because I do not know what to do. The reality is that this is messed up, but she has graduated. Is this now just the same as any old affair? I don't even know if she was in any of his classes. I do not know what to think. I do not know what to do next. Lawyer. Should I ask my husband and see what he says? Should I ask her? Edit to add, does anybody know how to tell when an app was first downloaded? Too long, didn't read. My teacher husband is Snapchatting and subscribed to the OnlyFans of a student from his school who is 18. Help. Update. This blew up and there's too many comments to reply to. Update July 9th, 2024. Next day. My post blew up and there were many comments asking for updates, so I want to provide one. I read every single comment, but there were too many to reply to individually. To clarify a few things, no, I did not take pictures or screenshots of the Snapchats or OnlyFans. I was so upset that I did not even think about it until afterward, and I thought there would be another chance to get them. I realize I made a mistake. Regarding some of my early comments, my brain was still reeling. I am 100% leaving my husband. To make it clear, it took me some time to come to terms with what was actually happening and the fact that I was in denial, but Reddit helped me get there. So thank you. The comments were about 50-50 split between advising me to talk to a lawyer or to my husband first. The reality is that I did not think I had anywhere else to go at the time, and I was so emotional last night and felt like I needed to know. I wanted to confront him and rip off the band-aid. He called me while I was still at work, and I ended up telling him we needed to talk. He seemed thrown off by this and canceled plans to stay in. I did not get home for almost 3 hours after that, crying and deciding what to do. Ultimately, I went home. If you're ever in the same position, do not do what I did. I wanted to follow the advice of many comments by basically saying I know about her, but I really wanted to get pictures of the evidence first, so I planned on playing it cool, saying never mind, all is okay, until we went to sleep and then sneaking back on his phone. I shouldn't have said anything on the phone, but my emotions got the better of me. But when I walked in the house, I immediately felt like he knew that I knew. He said, "What's up, super standoffish?" Just seemed off, and whatever I said on the phone must have tipped him off. Either that, or he was able to tell that I was on his phone in the morning somehow, pretending to be asleep? I'm not sure. So I couldn't control myself and got super emotional and confronted him on the spot. I asked if he had OnlyFans. It was the first thing out of my mouth, and he literally said no. What did you want to talk about? I told him I knew that he did and he denied. I told him I went on his phone this morning and scoffed and walked away. I followed him, crying and screaming that I knew he had OnlyFans and Snapchat. I told him that I was leaving him and finally cried out something about him cheating with his students. When I said that, he immediately turned around and asked what the fuck I was talking about. I told him that I knew about the girl, who was 18 years old, and his face genuinely turned into someone I didn't recognize. He immediately began yelling in my face that I didn't know what I was talking about. How dare I accuse him of sleeping with his students, and that I was crazy and trying to ruin his life. I was screaming back at him. I told him to open his phone and prove it, and he laughed in my face about how stupid somebody would be to do what I'm accusing him of, and basically threw his phone at my face and said, "Knock yourself out." As people can probably guess, there was nothing. He definitely knew before I got home. He was logged out of Snapchat, and when I asked him to log in and stop lying, he logged into a different account and asked me if I would drop it now. The first account had just the 18-year-old girl and a few AI accounts. This one had all his old college group chats and other people, including me. He gaslit me and swore he didn't have another account. He even suggested that I had dreamt all of this. At one point he finally admitted that he subscribed to an OF for a streamer during one of our intimacy lulls but never a student, and he swore he lied because he loved me and doesn't engage in that kind of behavior anymore. It was just hours of lies and gaslighting. He said that he knew which student I was talking about, but that he's never spoken to her or taught her. He didn't recall the movie theater incident and accused me of imagining it too. He denied receiving Snapchat at all a few nights ago when I first saw it. He denied acting shady the days before. He denied everything. I was absolutely disgusted by him the whole night. As the conversation went on, he started to talk about how he's going to get us marriage counseling, that my trust issues can be worked on, and he would leave teaching if it's what it took for me to stay, but never admitted to anything with a student. Admittedly, I was starting to get a bit of a gaslight fog about the situation, believing some of what he was saying, but when he volunteered to leave teaching, I knew it was worse than I knew. Because teaching is his everything, he gave up an amazing opportunity which would have made him 3-4x the money and way more recognition to teach, and has never complained about his job a day in his life. We both know he loves his job more than he loves me. If this was truly all a misunderstanding, or if it was a one-off with a graduated non-student, I just think he would do more to protect his job and his career. He wouldn't just leave over crazy behavior from me. That immediately told me everything I needed to know, that he was panicking on the inside about me leaving and me telling people. Maybe because more happened with 18F than what I know, maybe because he's done this before, I'm not sure. But he fucked up bad. It's so late, I was so exhausted, and I feigned agreement in working through it and told him I could move past it, but I was obviously lying. I need time to get shit in order. He is sleeping in the guest room tonight. I told him I would need a lot of space and he said he was okay with that. He left his phone in our bedroom for the night as a peace offering. I hate his fucking guts. I have so many things on my mind right now. What the fuck to do? How to get a lawyer? If I should tell my family. If I should tell the school. The fact that I have no proof but I know what I saw. Ugh, the fact that I'll be 33 and divorced. Above all, the fact that my husband may have slept with this girl. That's my gut telling me, because he kept repeating that he would never sleep with his students over and over, when I was using words like cheat with, look at porno, or sexed with. So that's the update. I was gaslit and lied to. I got no sleep last night but still went to work this morning to get away from him. He hasn't texted me or called all day. I want nothing more than to go to the school with this info. My heartbreak is gone and I'm just angry and disgusted and want to right his wrongs, but I need him to admit to it so I can know how bad it is, and I don't think he will. I was thinking of telling him that I reached out to the girl. I'm not going to, and see if that freaks him out enough to come clean, but what if she doesn't know? Maybe he's using a fake account. Or just saying I have proof, even though I don't. Anybody have any good ideas? In the meantime, I am looking for divorce lawyer ASAP. Too long, didn't read. I found proof of my husband Snapchatting and subscribing to a student's OnlyFans, but now all the evidence is gone and he has gaslit me. I have no idea where to go from here besides starting the divorce process. Relevant comments. First, get an attorney. Follow the advice of said attorney. Second, any chance of contacting this girl's parents? I'm sure they would have a better chance of finding proof and have every reason to want to do so. OP, I thought about contacting her parents. I don't know if they would care though. She's 18, and my husband works at a school with many disadvantaged kids. He teaches advanced math and said she wasn't in his advanced classes, has never been in his classes, and she's not a smart student, so he would never have had a reason to interact with her. If that's the case, who knows what the parents would think. I'm also scared it's overreaching and that she could get in trouble for having an OnlyFans if I tell her parents. I will ask the lawyer this once I speak to one. Lastly, talk to a lawyer and get a PI involved. You will get your answers. He can't completely hide everything. OP, I am leaning towards the PI. I understand everybody saying to divorce him and I don't need evidence. I am 100% planning to do so. I don't know how long this whole process will be, but that will happen. I will probably have to live with him in the meantime, as we both spend the majority of our income on our house. But I do not plan on being intimate with him ever again. The thing is, he is beloved in the community. I genuinely think people would believe him over me. Maybe I'm wrong, but his family would never believe me. I know. Even my own family will be shocked. I want to hurt him like he's hurt me and maybe even hurt other people. So I want proof. I think I'll look into some pleas. Are there PIs who can investigate somebody online though? Or just in real life? My fiance is taking my last name. His parents are threatening not to come to our wedding. How do we handle this? January 31st, 2024. My fiance, Alex, 21 years old, and I, 22 years old, have been together for 6 years and are getting married this year. I never cared much about my last name, but after some recent family events, I realized I want to keep mine. Alex didn't mind and chose to change his last name so we'd match. Upon finding out, Alex's parents, Lisa and Luke, yelled at him. Lisa cussed him out, so my parents let him stay with us for the last week of winter break. We were home on break from college and live a few miles apart. Lisa and Luke say Alex is destroying and disowning his family, publicly humiliating them, and claim I'm stripping him of his manhood. They told us we're unbiblical and that women should submit. To them, it's political too. They said the queer community is the reason we're susceptible to this, transgender people are to blame, and America is in its downfall. This is just another sign. Alex has received many texts from Lisa, calling him hateful, cruel, and cold, asking how he can let her suffer. The meetings Alex had with his parents went poorly. They told him they wanted to see him and not talk about the name, but then did. One meeting involved both sets of parents. Lisa and Luke talked 90% of the time before getting up and leaving. They're mad Alex stayed with us and said even if we go with his name they'd resent us and my family for supporting us. Lisa threatened to cut Alex off, saying he won't get another penny. They had planned to contribute to our wedding, stating there were no strings attached and they fund his college apartment. Lisa said this is the worst thing to happen to her since losing her first baby, and that it's worse than if Alex had gotten me pregnant, killed someone drunk driving, or was gay. She's telling Alex that his grandparents will have to move to assisted living from heartbreak, and Luke keeps telling Alex his choice is hurting people. Their main reason seems to be that it is tradition and that they want the last name carried on. It's not an uncommon last name. I also learned that Lisa borderline tried to talk Alex out of proposing. Alex asked me to marry him anyway, and Lisa called my mom in the midst of the engagement excitement to share her disapproval. They said that they get a say until Alex is married, and that's when they'll leave us be. Lisa and Luke keep texting Alex and my parents, but I have never received anything. They openly dislike me now, bad-mouthing me whether I'm there or not. I've decided my relationship with Lisa and Luke is over. It was rocky before as they tried to push their religion onto me numerous times. Alex is deciding how much more he can give. He hasn't taken a harsh tone or spoken rudely to his parents, but is tired. Now his parents say if Alex won't move back home, their financial support ends. They say the family won't come to the wedding, and one of his siblings has actually left the wedding party. Obviously, I have decided to stay mostly away from Lisa and Luke now, but they are Alex's family. With the wedding still coming up, we're unsure how to move forward. Too long, didn't read. My male fiancé is taking my last name. His parents are freaking out because I'm the woman and should take him. The verbal and emotional abuse are out of control, and they're threatening not to attend the wedding. Edit to add, Lisa and Luke's financial support is not necessary, and the wedding will proceed with or without it. Just thought it relevant to point out that the money that was offered no strings attached clearly does have strings. We know we are young and are still getting married after spending 6 years together. Postponing the wedding isn't something we're willing to do. Relevant comments. When asked if in-laws would accept both last names, the original poster, OOP, replied, apparently not, as his parents said it would make no difference. Since they aren't keen on using both names anyway, they decided against it. For instance, one commenter stated, the only people that should be at your wedding are those who want to celebrate your relationship. It sounds like they don't. Another person remarked, it seems he has valid reasons for not wanting to be associated with that last name anymore. Yes, it's unconventional, and people might look at him oddly for it, but they can just mind their own business. If you're happy and he's happy, that's all that matters. Furthermore, someone suggested, stop discussing it until after the wedding. For the rest of your life, stop sharing details about your lives with these people. Have your fiancé agree to gray rocking them moving forward, or there will be arguments about baby names and other issues in the future. The first time anyone knew my baby's name was in our birth announcement. Additionally, another commenter advised, simply say, we will miss you. Any other response will only encourage them to meddle more in the future. Moreover, a user pointed out, your future in-laws are acting like overgrown toddlers. For both your sakes, I hope they go no contact with both of you forever because the loss of their financial support is a small price to pay for freedom from their controlling behavior. However, if they refuse to leave you alone, your fiancé will need to develop strong boundaries. You two should consider premarital counseling before planning much more of the wedding, as it's crucial to ensure you're prepared to handle your future together. OP responded, the price is most certainly worth the freedom. We're looking into premarital counseling, thank you. Update July 7, 2024, 5 months later. Alex and I got married last month, and everything was absolutely beautiful. Since my original post. After more months of emotional and verbal abuse, Alex made the difficult decision that his parents were no longer welcome at our wedding. He explained that he couldn't trust them to respect his boundaries, respect us at all, or respect what the event was about. As expected, they freaked out, asking if he was trapped and needed help. Saying everything had become about me, OP, and telling him he'd been isolated from everyone he loves. We're not sure what story they told Alex's extended family. Alex reached out to everyone to explain what had been going on, but every response he received was more disgust toward his name choice, refusal of wedding invitations, and saying he needed to apologize, grovel, and fix the family. Most of Lisa's family were the ones talking the most about how dishonorable he was being and how he was breaking apart the family. Interesting, seeing none of them share Lisa and Luke's last name. Luke's family does. Luckily, only one invitation was returned with nasty notes inside, but the rest of the digital responses took Lisa and Luke's side, berated Alex for doing this near the anniversary of the death of Lisa's first child, and called him cruel and hateful. For context, Lisa's first child passed away a few days after birth, over 25 years ago. Alex says there has never been any remembrance that he knows of, and they do nothing on the anniversary. He doesn't even know the date of the anniversary. Lisa and Luke explained what happened once when he was young, and never mentioned anything again. We're unsure why it's all coming back up now, after presenting as generally unimportant his whole life. Apparently, this drama being 4 months from the anniversary was disrespectful. His sister Alice also went off the rails. After checking in to see how Alex was doing, Alice got angry that he wanted to discuss things over text instead of on the phone. It became obvious that she wanted him on the phone to berate him, because she ranted about how he was steamrolling their parents and wasn't really an adult because he wasn't married yet. She said she had encouraged Lisa and Luke to cut him off long ago and that I, OP, wasn't acting like family since I stopped letting her follow my Instagram account. This was after she dropped out as a bridesmaid and made it clear she didn't support our marriage. I decided not everyone gets full access to my life. As his only sibling, it was devastating for Alex to watch Alice spiral into fully taking their parents' side, after initially leading him to believe she had his back and was supportive. After saying not to expect her and Alex's bill at the wedding, there's been no further contact since Alice refuses to speak to him unless he'll talk on the phone. At this point, he won't do any phone calls as we'd rather have a record of everything that goes down. Many people tried to talk to Lisa and Luke, my own parents, mutual friends, etc., to encourage them to choose the relationship and explain that the damage they were causing wasn't worth the loss they'd endure. It seemed to have no effect. Alex was quick to become no longer financially dependent on his parents. We've changed his phone plan, reclaimed all his bills from Lisa and Luke, fully moved him out, and finished college. We're not sure if they attended graduation. They texted Alex the day before to say they'd be there but then turned off their location services. Graduation day was stressful and nerve-wracking, with Alex not knowing if they'd make a scene or corner him. He left as soon as he walked across the stage and made it to his car with no interactions. Since then, as most Redditors suggested, we've been nearly no contact with Lisa and Luke. We spent the first 6 weeks of summer finishing wedding details, and our day last month was gorgeous. Alex received no communication between graduation and the wedding, and has no plans to continue their relationship without an apology. Lisa and Luke did not show up to the wedding or say anything on the day of. The only recent change is Lisa unfollowing and unfriending both of us and my family on all social media. For me, my in-law relationships are basically over, apology or not. Learning they'd never supported our engagement, ignoring my existence, and hating me because of my political and religious beliefs is enough for me not to keep contact. Thank you, Redditors, for your kind help and good wishes. Our day was truly perfect and straight out of a fairy tale, and we're looking forward to the next chapter of our lives, with hopefully less drama. Too long, didn't read? Parents were uninvited to the wedding. Sister flipped a switch. Currently no contact with all. Wedding day was beautiful and not dramatic. Relevant comments. One commenter remarked, "Wow, just wow. How can a whole family implode over something as ridiculous as a last name change?" Had I read the text without seeing it being about that, I'd have thought the young man at least had molested animals or children. Geez. Another observed, "That's because it's not about the last name. The last name was the straw that broke the camel's back." In the original post, OP said the in-laws already didn't like her. There is way more going on here than reported. A different perspective was shared. It sounds like they had total control over him and objected to losing the right to make his choices. Totally normal in small amounts when a kid reaches this stage of life, but for a certain kind of family, they can't let the baby grow up without severing everything. One user offered a warning, "Please be aware that if you are choosing to have children, they might come at y'all full force again. Be prepared." Another shared a personal anecdote. "My friend's sister went through something similar. The couple had entertained the idea of creating a new family name and the groom's mom flipped out. Threatened to remove financial support, they didn't need it, and suddenly the racism came out after 10 years of holding it in. Suddenly the bride's family were those people, aka not white. It was a beautiful ceremony, the mom didn't show up and now she has to live with never seeing her only son. The irony is that the couple on their own decided that they weren't going to change it a few days before the wedding, but by then the groom went no contact due to the blatant disrespect and racism hurled at his wife's family. One congratulated the couple, saying, 'Congratulations and I'm happy your wedding, and his graduation, went off without a hitch. I'm proud that he chose to stick to his wants rather than let his family bully him into submission. Stay no contact, your lives will be more peaceful.' Suggest some therapy for him if he's struggling with all this though. There are a lot of emotional issues that come with cutting family out. Best wishes to you both." Adding a practical point, another user said, "I don't understand why anyone, male or female, changes their name in the first place in the modern era. Huge pain in the ass to do so, especially with professional licenses, college records, SS, passports, and so on. But yeah, his family is going overboard, by a lot. I can see why he would change his name. Disassociate from the wackadoodles. Sorry for the family strife, but congratulations on the marriage." Another shared a lighthearted story. My husband and I have joked about hyphenating our last names. 11 letters plus 9 letters, both convoluted Dutch names that are hard to spell. Well, hard for folks here in Canada which are in Amsterdam to pronounce my last name better than I can. LOL. No one has given us a hard time about both of us keeping our names. I think the only people who had any sort of comment on it were my parents, and that was just from a practicality standpoint. They've moved provinces a few times and mom had to bring name change documentation with her every time she changed her ID to reflect her current province. I was warned that it could be a potential headache if I changed my name, but that was it. Someone else shared their personal dilemma. My partner has a name that's a bit funny in our language, derived from the name of a trade, and a pain to write and pronounce in English. Not so bad in our local language, just long, as it's also 11 letters. I work in an English-speaking environment, and trying to explain to people how to pronounce something similar to Hadziski doesn't sound very appealing. It's not the real name but has a lot of similar sounds. But if we marry, I would prefer to keep mine, not so much because of the pronunciation. I just don't like how it sounds with my first name. Hyphenating sounds like a pain, and my full name would become 35 characters. However, if I kept my last name and we have kids with his last name, I will have to always carry a document proving the kids are mine. So no ideal solution here. His family likely won't be too happy if I kept mine, but they might just get over it if we finally marry. I think they gave up on any of their kids getting married years ago. We are all happily cohabiting without making it official. Adding another anecdote, a user said, "My dad died, and when my mom remarried, she kept my dad's name. She hated her maiden name and didn't want to take his long, convoluted last name. Her new husband didn't care at all. Nobody really cared. It's her name, she can do what she wants. I changed my name when I got married, it didn't last, and I just went back to my maiden name with no problem at all. My birth certificate goes first name, middle name, married last name, maiden name. So I can use my maiden without bureaucracy. I'm having the same thoughts as my mom. This is my name, and I'm keeping it." A user shared a modern perspective. "I think I'm going to encourage my kids to make up a new last name with their partners rather than pick one even. And doing it all over again, I might have chosen to do so with my wife too, but we share my last name. There are 4 last names associated with your grandparents, 8 with your great-grandparents, and double that for your SO2. And so my last name comes from some traceable line of sons only, okay? I don't think that makes them necessarily any cooler or more special than maternal ancestors, or my grandma's ancestors. Frankly, I'm sure a lot of the men in that particular line of my ancestry sucked anyway. I don't feel like there's a really strong genealogical attachment to any singular family name unless someone becomes famous enough to make it a brand. So I think people should just pick and build their own family name or choose one from the most recent approximately 16 that they feel the most proud of, attached to." Lastly, someone shared their personal experience with familial control. "It's very little to do with the name itself and everything to do with ownership. My husband and I double-barreled our last names to take each other's, so it was totally fair, and his parents still freaked the fuck out. It was nothing about the name or the fairness of the thing and everything to do with the fact it symbolized him growing as an autonomous adult, and they couldn't handle it. Which might be understandable, even if not acceptable if he was a young adult barely out of the house, but he was in his 30s with a career, property, and a PhD. But that didn't matter to them. In their eyes, children remain property and are mere accessories rather than people."
Am I the asshole for not allowing my daughter to visit my cousin's house because of her autistic son's behavior? My cousin and I both have 2 children who are the same age. We have 12-year-old boys and 11-year-old girls. Her 12-year-old son, Damien, is autistic and has a lot of issues that we believe are unrelated to autism, but we are no experts on the subject. My 12-year-old son, Christopher, loves hanging out with Damien because he enjoys knowing that he brings some sort of joy to Damien's otherwise rough life. Damien has been kicked out of every school he has attended, so he has no friends. Our daughters are the best of friends as well. They are basically inseparable. Well, about 2 weeks ago my cousin asked if she could take my kids for the week. COVID outbreak at school, so school was called off anyways. I said that was fine after asking the kids if they wanted to go. Everything was perfectly fine for the entire week, I thought. I checked on the kids often. They seemed happy and to be having fun. However, that all changed when I picked my kids up. That's when they told me all the weird shit Damien was doing. Such as my daughter would wake up to Damien stroking her hair or arms while she slept, and when she caught him, he pretended to be asleep. He went into his sister's room at some point during the night against his parents' rules. I guess he also told my daughter several times that he likes her, and when my daughter told my cousin about it, she basically said it's okay to have crushes, but where you're related, you simply can't act on it. I guess he also kept trying to take pictures of her. I'm unsure whether or not she corrected her son's behavior by touching my daughter in her sleep. However, I do know that not once did she tell me anything that happened. My kids did, while she kept it hush-hush. After finding all of this out, I called my cousin and said that my kids would no longer be allowed there because my daughter now felt uncomfortable around Damien. She is pissed because he doesn't mean it. It's not like he went out of his way to be weird, he doesn't understand. It's his autism, but says she ultimately understands. However, she's still making me feel bad about it because her kid has autism and doesn't know why he isn't allowed to see my kids anymore, and I guess he has been having a lot of outbursts since that point. One of them resulting in her needing to call the police because he became violent and started throwing chairs.
Weird guy shows up at my parents' house at 1 a.m. using details about my life from 20 years ago. Help me figure this out. Original post, October 5th, 2022. I posted this on the Creepy Encounter sub and someone suggested I post here. This happened 3 nights ago and I am going crazy trying to figure it out. I just moved into a new apartment 1 month ago and I'm still unpacking and settling in. I have been using my parents' address as my mailing address, who live a few towns over, 20 minutes away, all of my life. 3 nights ago my parents called me at 2 a.m., freaked out and told me this story. Apparently, at 1 a.m. someone started banging on their front door and repeatedly ringing their doorbell. My stepdad walked downstairs and opened the door, leaving the front glass door closed and locked. There was a man standing outside, who looked to be in his 30s, with a black hoodie on with the hood pulled up around his face. He did not have any distinguishing facial features, facial hair, or tattoos. The only thing my stepdad said was that he looked to be Hispanic. Neither my stepdad nor my mother, who was watching the whole thing out a window, recognized the man. The man said, "I am so sorry to bother you, but I am looking for my full name." My stepdad played dumb and said, "Who?" The man proceeded to state my full name again and said that my boyfriend was worried because I did not come home that night. He claimed to be a friend of my boyfriend and told my stepdad that they were both out looking for me, worried because I did not show up at home. I do not have a boyfriend. I live by myself with my 3 dogs and have not been in a relationship in the past 5 to 6 months. Here is the weird part. My stepdad asked the guy what boyfriend he was talking about, and the man told him the name of the boyfriend I had when I was in 10th grade, nearly 20 years ago. My boyfriend in 10th grade has a very, very unique Italian name. I have never met anyone with a full name even close to his. He said my high school boyfriend's name a few more times to ensure my stepdad heard him and repeated that they were very worried about me, and asked if my stepdad was sure I was not inside. At this point, my stepdad was weirded out and closed and locked the door in his face. The man did not leave. He lingered in front of my parents' house for the next 10 minutes, smoking cigarettes and talking on the phone. Finally, my parents called the cops. About 5 minutes before the cops arrived, the man walked down to the dead end on their block and drove away in a silver car. My stepdad was unable to get the license plate. My parents filed a police report and nothing else happened. After I heard this story, I am going nuts over the weird details. How would someone know who I dated nearly 20 years ago, and what would the motive be for making up a story that included that weird detail about my past? I have not had contact with a 10th grade boyfriend in over a decade. Yesterday, I decided to message him on Facebook to see if he has any insight. I told him the whole story. He was just as confused as I am and claimed to have no part in it. I am at a loss. I am also really freaked out that some strange man is going through that much trouble at 1 a.m. to look for me. Any insights or ideas would be greatly appreciated. No, nothing else weird has happened since then. Edit, update 1. Wow, this really blew up. Thank you so much for all the kind words and precautions that I should take. I want to add something here that a few people commented on, that might shine some light on this mystery. First off, I am not in any legal trouble and have no reason to think someone would be suing me. God, I guess it is always in the realm of possibility that I am being sued by someone, but I really do not think that is it. Like I previously commented, I had an expired registration ticket that I did not show up to court for, but I believe I got a letter in the mail just asking me to pay a really large fee, so I do not think that is related. I did take a personal loan out. I took it out about a year and a half ago. It was not for anything too crazy and I was really good with making payments on time until about 6 months ago when I had a medical issue. Currently, I am really behind on payments, but to my knowledge I have not defaulted on the loan yet. What do you guys think? Related? I had absolutely no idea that this is a thing, or I would have included this detail to begin with. Let me know your thoughts. Edit, update 2. I have a list of a few things that I'm going to look into tomorrow, based on my own thoughts and based on a ton of valuable feedback I got in here. Thank you. We'll post an update, ASAP. Edit, update 3. I am so sorry it has taken me so long to update. It is a super busy time at work. Unfortunately, there is not much to report. I called the loan company. They claim to have nothing to do with it. All of my friends and family also noted that the 1 a.m. factor kind of rules that out anyway. Nothing else strange has happened at my parents' house. I went there for the first time last night and kept a close eye out for anything, did not observe anything out of the norm. So this remains a mystery. I will be sure to update if something else happens. July 12, 2024, 1 year and a half later. Alright, 1 year later, I finally have an update to this insane mystery. I will include the original story here first, followed by the update. Recent update. After this happened, my family, a couple of close friends, and I have been discussing this mystery in depth to try and figure it out. We all have our own theories, but ultimately, no definitive answer as to what happened or who this creepy guy was. So we pretty much put it to rest and only joked about it once in a while. Here is the update. My stepsister, my stepdad's daughter, and her fiancé were at a house party right after the holidays, around early January of this year. While they were there, they started talking to a girl that neither of them knew. After some time talking together, the girl started talking about her ex-boyfriend and how they were going through a really tough time together. They had just recently broken up and she felt really bad because he was a wreck over it. Somehow, it came up that this girl's ex-boyfriend was my 10th grade boyfriend, the one with the really unique Italian name. The whole situation was not that big of a coincidence since I went to high school with my stepsister's fiancé, and we have a lot of mutual friends. So it makes sense that they were at a party that would include some people I went to high school with. As soon as my stepsister and her fiancé hear this, they both start freaking out. Without revealing too many details, they tell the girl about the whole mystery and how weird it was. As they are telling the story, the girl's face starts to go white and she looks like she's about to cry. My stepsister and her fiancé try to console her and ask her what is wrong. The wine and beer had been flowing at this point, so I am sure everyone was a little tipsy. The girl starts to tell them that a few nights ago, she was sleeping, and someone started banging on her door at, get this, 1 a.m. Just like what happened to me at my parents' house. The girl jumps out of bed and says she was absolutely terrified by how loud and aggressive someone was banging on her door. She said she literally thought it was going to break in. The girl has a Ring camera, so she looks at her phone. There on the camera is a guy, in a black hoodie, banging on her door. She obviously pretends like she is not home and keeps all of the lights off. He continues banging. As she is getting ready to dial 911, the guy stops and leaves. She said she was absolutely terrified. For whatever reason, she did not end up calling the cops, but she may have gone to stay with a friend that night or the night after. My stepsister and her fiancé are shocked by the details and how similar it is to my story, especially because of the mutual ex-boyfriend we share, except this girl literally just broke things off with him. They asked the girl if she has any idea who the guy is, and she said no, but that it definitely is not the actual ex-boyfriend. She said this guy was much taller and heavier than our shared mutual ex. How weird. This mystery is still unsolved, and these new details honestly just make my head spin even more. No one else has shown up at my parents' door since the actual incident a year ago. Hi all, here are some answers to some questions. First, my 10th grade boyfriend was into drugs when I dated him back in his hawk school. I have no idea if he continued to use drugs throughout his life or not, but I can confirm that he is definitely an addict who may or may not be in recovery currently. Second, my 10th grade boyfriend has been to my parents' house multiple times. My parents still live in the same house I grew up in, and my 10th grade boyfriend has been over many times while we dated in high school. I don't know where he currently lives, but he grew up about 10 minutes away from my parents' house. Third, my 10th grade boyfriend and I had a horrific breakup. I met my high school sweetheart while I was dating him and broke up with him in a pretty messed up way. He held a grudge over it all throughout high school and was extremely nasty to me, to the point of bullying. At one point, I had to get a security guard to escort me to classes because he and his friends were bullying me so badly. The bullying was only severe for the rest of 10th grade, but he definitely hated me all through high school. Eventually, he did end up apologizing to me and explained that he was just heartbroken over me breaking up with him, but by that point, I was way past the point of forgiving him. After graduating high school, we ran into each other maybe once or twice while I was home from college, and he was totally cordial and nice with me. We laughed about the high school experiences. Additionally, I can definitely try reaching out to him on Facebook again and bringing up this whole mystery with the added updates from his recent ex-girlfriend to see what his reaction is and gauge whether or not he's being truthful. I can also ask some mutual high school friends who know him about how he currently is and if he's into any shady activities. Moreover, my stepsister only gave me the first name and a description of his recent ex-girlfriend from the party. However, I can go on my 10th grade boyfriend's Facebook and look for her under his friends, then reach out to her on Facebook Messenger to inquire about the ring footage and ask her more questions. I can also see if she ever reached out to the police. I agree that this is probably the best thing to do if I want more answers, but I need to be careful since I still don't know what is going on here. Finally, my 10th grade boyfriend does not have a brother, just one younger sister that I remember from high school. Relevant comments from OP Comment 1. I just posted some answers in the comments about the nature of my breakup with my high school boyfriend and how horrific it was and how he basically harassed me for the rest of the 10th grade. Your last theory, and what a lot of other people are commenting on, is starting to make the most sense to me. It could be that my 10th grade boyfriend has a tendency to get insanely hung up on girls and is sending a close friend or relative to do these 1 a.m. drop-bys. And this would especially make sense if he is still using drugs like he did in high school. This theory being correct would mean he lied to me when I reached out to him on Facebook a year ago, which of course he would. If this is the case, it seems like he moved on to his current ex. I just hope he doesn't swing back around to me. Comment 2. I decided I'm going to try and find out the girl's full name so I can look her up on social media. I may even be able to find her with just the first name that I already know from my steps. I can go onto my 10th grade boyfriend's Facebook and look in his friend list for a girl with the same first name who looks like she could have been his ex-girlfriend. He may even have pictures with her tagged, so it shouldn't be that hard, unless he wiped his social media clean of her after they broke up. When I'm able to find her, I'm going to reach out to her and try and get some answers. I think this is the safest route since I still don't know my 10th grade boyfriend's role in this, and I did already ask him once and he claimed to have no part in it or know anything, which may or may not have been a lie. Based on how scared my stepsis said this girl was, I'm betting she'll be willing to talk to me about it since we share the experience. I will make an update post when I have more info. Thanks everyone. Comment 3. I don't know, I would recommend against reaching out to him. Based on everything you've shared, I would be shocked if this wasn't him putting someone he knows up to this. There are other clues, but we already know he can hold a grudge and will put his friends up to bullying someone on his account. It was one incident around a year ago and nothing since, so it might be best if you just stay off his radar. Whoever is behind it, and I do think that it's him, is unhinged. I doubt he would admit to it anyway. It's your situation and your life, so you know best. Just stay safe. Comment 4. Dude, it's him. He's instigating this. Why? Probably because he's mentally unstable. I would absolutely not have any contact with him going forward. Do not reach back out to him, don't interact on social media, pretend he does not exist. You don't want to be drawn back into his web. Am I the A for revoking my brother's +1 to exclude his problematic friend and inviting his girlfriend instead, causing a family dispute? Original post, June 11, 2024. I kind of know I'm the asshole, but I need to know how bad it was. My brother, who is 29 years old, has been with Leah for about 2 years. We all like her, she is super nice. I am getting married next April and sent an invite to my brother's apartment. We decided to send invites to households and not individuals. For example, our aunt received an invite for her family and not for each individual. Last Thursday, we met at my parents' place. It was just the core family because of some tax reasons, lol. While there, I asked my brother about Leah's dietary restrictions. I know that she is a vegetarian for health reasons and that she cannot have certain raw vegetables. He said that she wasn't going to come and that he was taking his girl best friend, Amanda, instead. Now their relationship is weird as hell. Amanda has always been stringing my brother along, in my opinion. He always denies having feelings for her, but let's be real here. Amanda would date other guys, blow off my brother, then when things were on the decline with her partners, she would be attached to him again. Her last boyfriend broke up with her right around the time my brother, his then ex-girlfriend, Amanda, and her ex were supposed to travel to Spain. What did my idiot brother do? Go with Amanda alone because Amanda was uncomfortable with his ex-girlfriend. Obviously he acted blindsided when his girlfriend broke up with him. I didn't even say anything anymore because it's all so weird. So when he said that, I asked if Leah already had other plans. But my brother said that Amanda had asked if she could come because it would be an opportunity to finally see the old gang. We were in the same friend group in high school. I told him that I would have invited Amanda if I wanted her there. Amanda is mean and cold. She always makes disparaging comments about other girls. At every event around 1 hour in, she will make some sort of scene that either has her running away crying or sitting mad at a table telling everyone to leave her alone, and then making a cryptic comment about something hurting her. I told my brother I was revoking his +1 and Amanda was not coming to our wedding. He accused me of being misogynistic and bigoted because I don't understand opposite sex friendships. Which is BS. My husband has a female childhood friend who is his best woman. I love her too and she has been amazing. And she respects fucking boundaries. She always includes me and made a huge effort when I started dating my fiancé to integrate me into the friend group. Anyway, I said my decision was final. He could take it or leave it, but I would be inviting Leah myself because I like her. He screamed at me and told me to keep out of his business. I said to get rid of his weird fucking feelings for Amanda. He is mad at me. My dad said it is none of our business. My mom is furious with my brother. So am I the A. Edit. To answer some questions, the invite was addressed to the Smiths. Funnily enough, Leah has the same last name as us. Granted, we have one of the most common last names. Yes, they live together. The tax thing is nothing huge. My parents have a small business but are really bad at keeping track of all their receipts. So every month we go and help them. We digitalize the receipts and put them in bookkeeping software for the accountant. Amanda is in the comments. Say hi, the alleged Amanda comments. Editor's note, the account replying is a well-established account on AITA and commented on many posts before commenting on OPs. It was not a new account nor a throwaway. Do not DM this person or harass them in any way as it goes against the rules of the sub. This is only included because it is relevant to what OP wrote and pointed out. First off, you the ass. If he has any sense, he simply will not come to your wedding. That's the correct way to handle assholes like you. OP, yeah, I wouldn't mind LOL. Second, well, if you don't mind your brother and dad not coming to your wedding, that's fine. But the way you handled it makes you the asshole. Not inviting your brother would have been fine. Giving him an invite, trying to dominate him and decide his relationships for him, and then uninviting his +1 because you want to decide who his partner is, that's overstepping. OP, my dad is not mad at me, dude LOL. He thinks it's unnecessary drama. He doesn't like Amanda either, so he's just keeping out. Amanda replied to several other commenters. Here are a few. Commenter, not the A your brother is though. He needs a huge reality check. This chick Amanda sounds super problematic and toxic, and since it is your wedding, you are absolutely within your rights to decide who gets to be there and who doesn't. Hope your brother will realize how manipulative Amanda is and cut her from his life before she manages to destroy even more for him. Amanda, all of that is none of OP's business. She gave him a +1, then revoked it. She is an AH for intruding into his relationship. This will break up her family. Let's see if her brother and dad will be the only ones not coming. Commenter. It's confusing then why he and Amanda aren't together. They seem to be into each other. Or does he really like Amanda, but she uses him as a placeholder and doesn't reciprocate his feelings? If that's the case, he needs to put distance there so he can move forward. Or you're right, he will be alone until Amanda gets married to someone else. Amanda. What do you expect? He has an asshole sister. Relevant comments. First, you can invite Leah yourself, but by the sounds of your brother's behavior, who knows if they will even still be together by then. Even if they are, I wouldn't count on her sticking around if he keeps prioritizing Amanda over her. OP, I like Leah, genuinely as a friend, and would like her there. I should have honestly just invited her officially too. I should have foreseen David would do this. Next, how does Leah feel about Amanda? OP. Well, she feels hyper insecure about Amanda. Finally, she should, because this behavior is a pretty obvious sign that should Amanda give him a chance, he will cheat on Leah in a second, and has probably done so with his exes. OP. Agree 100%. If Amanda wrote to him right now that she wants him, he would drive pantless to her place. On OP's brother. I gave up talking to him years ago. I always feel sorry for the amazing girls he brings home though. I still talk to his ex. She helped me with my career, LOL. He is going to end up alone. Commenter, but just to be safe, tell Leah she is invited even if she isn't with your brother anymore at the time of the wedding because, let's be real here, she can do a lot better and it's just a matter of time before she realizes that and dumps him. Let Leah have a +1 so she can enjoy herself. That would make her feel truly welcome. Your brother is a major asshole, and I don't blame you at all for not wanting his side piece at your wedding. I also wouldn't blame you if you didn't want him at your wedding. OP, she can do so much better. On paper, my brother is pretty great. Amazing job, financial stability, he volunteers at animal shelters, and cares about his appearance. And when he is not drooling for Amanda, he is generally really nice and loving. But bro, why aren't he and Amanda together? It's so weird, man. IDK, she is jealous when anyone spends time with him. I once told him to ask her to have a one-sided open relationship where she gets to do what she wants, and he waits at home for her because he already does that lol. Commenter, did he even tell Leah she was invited? There might be a possibility that he's lying and the girlfriend didn't even know about the wedding. OP, she did not in fact know. Commenter, how did she learn about it? From you or from him, for damage control. OP, I called Leah in front of him, asking her about it. She had no idea. OP is voted not the A. Update post, June 25, 2024, 2 weeks later. I listen to 2 hot takes every day on my commute, so it was a huge surprise when you responded to my post. Thanks for your insights. Regarding the invitation, I now realize I shouldn't have phrased it as inviting a single person. I thought inviting households would be cute and less pressure for guests. Lesson learned LOL. Here's an update I'd like to share with you. After the confrontation, I didn't hear from Leah or my brother for about 2 days. During that time, Amanda reached out to me upset about my Reddit post. She called me an asshole and insisted that Leah is not the only special woman in my brother's life. She argued neither Leah nor I have the right to be selfish with my brother's time, asserting she existed before Leah or any of his girlfriends and would outlast them all. She ended with a presumptuous statement that she would surely see me at my wedding. I was fuming. I chose not to engage with her other remarks but instead sent her a clear message. Hello Amanda, you are not invited to my wedding. If you want to see the old gang, please organize a coffee date when they're all in town. Should you appear at the wedding, you will be escorted out, peacefully by staff or with police involvement. Please refrain from contacting me or my husband. Amanda responded with more emails, mostly vague threats and name-calling, and turned to Instagram to indirectly target me. She tagged me in posts, making my username small so people wouldn't notice me tagged but would see it in my notifications. She also used an Ask Me Anything sticker on her Instagram story, where I'm pretty sure she asked herself leading questions. Highlights included questions like, what's the perfect outfit for a wedding? With a photo of herself in a dress captioned, this, but sadly I'll never get to use it, and what is your pet peeve? Followed by a rant about nosy people who think they have the right to control others. She flooded her story with sad quotes about no longer having a girl's girl. She tagged me in every single one. Of course, I screenshotted them all, LOL. Some friends reached out when Amanda started spreading a different story, claiming I originally invited her but later disinvited her because Leah hates her and pressured my brother to do the same. The cool part? Not one person believed her. Many of our old high school friends have cut ties with Amanda, and the few guys who still talk to her are more linked to my brother. They reached out to let me know Amanda was spreading rumors. The girls in the group blocked her after she vented to them, which led Amanda to start bombarding their phones. My brother panicked, thinking I'd started a campaign against her. Speaking of my brother, he called and texted me multiple times, furious that I excluded Amanda and even blamed me for any harm she might come to. He went as far as calling our mother, saying Amanda was depressed and threatening never to forgive me if something happened to her. My mom advised him to call for a welfare check if he was genuinely concerned because he, as an individual with no training, wouldn't be equipped to handle such situations. The biggest development is that my brother got kicked out of his shared apartment. Leah called me to say their relationship might not continue and that she might not feel comfortable coming to the wedding. I understood her decision and offered an open ear. We met for coffee and she recounted their ugly fight. Without going into all the details, Leah didn't hold back. She made my brother read every single text out loud between him and Amanda and sent a copy to one of her male friends, who replied, Leah, what the F, this is not okay. She used this as evidence that their interactions were, at best, inappropriate and, realistically, an emotional affair. When my brother begged her to stay, she asked him why, knowing he would always choose Amanda. He swore he wouldn't, but his immediate response to a hysterical call from Amanda about me bullying her proved otherwise. Leah left while he comforted Amanda in another room. Later, she texted him that he needed to move out while she was away. It's her apartment, and she didn't want to see him until certain conditions were met, cutting Amanda out completely and seeking therapy to address his unhealthy patterns. The fight spanned 2 intense days. Leah found solace in your podcast and the comments here. She described it as surreal but helpful. She sends her greetings and wants people in similar situations to know a few things. Don't fear being alone because being with someone who's not good for you will make you feel lonelier than being single. Never enter a relationship with a I can fix him mentality as it usually ends in heartbreak. Prioritize yourself, and while trying to work things out is noble, don't depend on it as the solution. That's pretty much it. It sounds convoluted, like a soap opera, but my day-to-day life has surprisingly been calm. I think my brother really needs to mature and either commit to Amanda or realize he's being strung along. And to Amanda, please grow up and leave me alone. Relevant comment. Commenter, well, is your dad still coming to your wedding? I'm so glad Leah dumped your brother. OP, yes, of course. Also, they are on a break. Please insert Ross Geller meme here. Commenter, hey OP, your comment about your brother and Amanda taking a trip to Spain and uninviting his girlfriend because Amanda was uncomfortable with the girlfriend. I just read a post about exactly that situation. Was that your brother? I would post the link here, but it won't let me. OP, no, it's not him. The mods on Too Hot Takes leave a note on the post. Mod note, can confirm that someone was reporting this post and a bunch of comments for nonsense reasons when it first got traction. So, a not so happy hi Amanda, from our moderation team. New update post 1, July 8th, 2024, 2 weeks later. We got a call last night. My brother has been in a car crash abroad. My father and I are on the way there. Getting plane tickets was almost impossible, so we have been driving since 5 a.m. He was on a holiday with Amanda to clear their minds. Amanda didn't even call us. I don't know if she is still with my brother or if she is also hurt. My brother's phone was shattered, so he can't update us. The nurse, bless her soul, has been updating us. He can't even talk to us. I think I'm just writing because I don't know what else to do. My dad doesn't want to talk. I don't know if he is mad or worried or both. I have never seen this expression on his face. My brother is an idiot who has hurt a bunch of people because he is selfish. But I still don't want him to die. He is my brother. Thank God he is alive. Amanda is not here. New update post 2, July 10th, 2024, 2 days later. Title, what is going on? This has been an absolutely terrible week. My brother is alive but not doing well. We're stressed out of our minds because of the insurance situation. He and Amanda went to a country that's not part of the European Union, and of course, he didn't book any travel insurance. So we have to pay up front and hope his insurance will refund us. But we all know how that goes. If they owe you money, you might see it in 8 to 18 business months. My mom and Leah are trying to figure that out too. Amanda came to the hospital yesterday. She hadn't left, she just had to go to the police because of the car crash. The reason my brother is in the hospital is not because of the crash, but because of sepsis, a UTI turned kidney infection turned sepsis. They decided to go on vacation to blow off steam. Around 4 days in, my brother started feeling warm and sick. Amanda said she offered to drive him to an ER, but he declined. I'm not sure if she's telling the truth, but this is the first time I've seen her being genuine. They went out drinking, and when they came home, he took something for the pain. Amanda couldn't tell me exactly what it was, but she said it worried her because you're not supposed to mix medication with alcohol. They started arguing, and then my brother passed out. I don't know why she didn't call an ambulance, she couldn't explain it to me either. But when my brother came, she loaded him into the car. Amanda said she panicked, and when they were arriving at the hospital, she crashed into a barrier. That's when my brother's phone, which he was holding, flew out of the window. Amanda decided to run into the clinic to get someone and stay with the car until the police came. After that, they didn't let her in because she's not family. Instead of calling us immediately, she went back to their Airbnb and told me that she just needed a moment to process everything. She had to go to the police, pay for the damage, and then went to see my brother. But here's where it gets frustrating. Amanda decided that she needed to clear her head and left my brother in the hospital alone for a day. She checked into a nearby hotel to rest. She didn't tell any of us where she was until she showed up at the hospital yesterday, looking somewhat relaxed and acting as if everything was under control. When we confronted her about leaving my brother alone, she said, "I just needed some time to get myself together. It's been overwhelming." Meanwhile, my brother was lying in a hospital bed in a foreign country, with no way to contact us because his phone was shattered in the crash. We're now trying to navigate the logistics of getting him home and ensuring he gets the medical care he needs. Amanda, on the other hand, seems more concerned about how this whole situation is affecting her peace of mind. She even posted a photo from her hotel room, with a caption like, "Taking a much-needed break." It has been a nightmare, and Amanda's behavior, while not super malicious, has added to the stress. We're doing everything we can to support my brother. My brother, on the other hand, is struggling physically and emotionally. He's worried about the mounting medical bills, his recovery, and the strain this situation has put on our family. On top of that, he's afraid that Amanda is losing interest in him, which only adds to his anxiety. That's why we're playing nice with Amanda, to avoid adding any more stress for my brother. We're focusing on getting him the best care possible and bringing him home safely. I'm divorcing my husband due to his autism impacting our life. How can I end things respectfully while considering his feelings and needs? When I first met my husband, who is now 30 years old, I knew he had autism. We met at university and it never seemed to be a problem at the time. He was what you would describe as quirky, but we fell in love and eventually got married. For a while, everything seemed to be going well despite his autism. Over time, however, he developed some sensory issues, which meant that I had to take on the majority of the housework. I didn't really mind initially because I was pursuing my MA while he went to work. However, as time passed, his autism became more noticeable and began to affect our daily lives in more significant ways. At first, I couldn't have my girlfriends over without giving him a week's notice, and eventually, it became completely off the table. I accepted that he didn't like other people entering our space, so we had our hangouts at my friends' places instead. Then I had to start doing chores on his schedule so he could be mentally prepared for the noise of the vacuum. These were all small adjustments, but they began to add up. A few weeks ago, it hit me that I wanted out of this marriage. I recently finished my PhD and got a job offer in a different state. It is a fantastic offer, and I want to take it. I started looking at places to live, but many of them were already out of the question because they wouldn't accommodate my husband's many rules and sensory needs. As I was searching for new places, I realized that I want to get a divorce. I want to move and be able to vacuum when I want and have friends over whenever I choose. I want to eat out without having to check that the restaurant doesn't play loud music, and I want to eventually meet someone who is capable of doing half of the housework. My decision has been made, but now I face the difficult task of telling my husband that I'm leaving. I want to do it respectfully, but at the same time, I feel like he deserves to know why I'm making this decision. I think I am leaving him because he has autism, and I fear that this truth will break him and at the same time make me feel like a horrible person. It is a delicate situation, and I'm not sure how to approach it. I care about him deeply and do not want to hurt him, but I also need to think about my own happiness and well-being. I hope to find a way to explain my feelings honestly without causing him unnecessary pain. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Don't tell him you're leaving him because he's autistic. He's always been autistic and always will be, and you're not leaving him because he's autistic. Focus on the actual reasons. That his needs and boundaries aren't compatible with yours anymore. That your relationship isn't equitable and you're unhappy. That you are not okay being in a relationship where you do 100% of the housework, can never have anyone over, and have to plan everything around his schedule. It's harder when there's a valid underlying reason, but all these things would be true if he wasn't autistic. Comment 2. Yes, this. Usually, you should not tell someone with a disability that their disability is why you're leaving them. At all. If their disability is what makes them incompatible with you, then you should tell them they're incompatible, but don't say that the incompatibility is due to the disability. Comment 3. He will know whether you tell him or not. I have had guys break up with me over my PTSD. Listing my PTSD symptoms, but not naming my PTSD doesn't fool me. I am not an idiot because I'm disabled. Comment 4. That's pretty cruel honestly. It sucks either way, but it's extremely clear that the reason she's leaving is his autism has progressively gotten worse, which is not uncommon. The problems he has are things you can work on, but she's clearly not interested in doing that because it can take years before even slight progress is made. She should tell him because it's the truth. Comment 5. I disagree, and we're taking all the blame away from the husband here because of his disability. I don't care about his super sensibility or whatever, he could just leave the house or find a way. It's the adult thing to do, to try to make up for the things you lack instead of just dumping your problems onto your partner. But he's just letting the wife progressively have more and more work. Relationships are based on boundaries and agreements. Each party gives something in it. That is determined at the start of the relationship, and while some can change, both parties have to agree with it. The husband changed because of his disability, but instead of finding a new way to make things work, the wife just had to progressively take on more and more work. I get it. Autism isn't nice to have. It can be horrible, but the wife isn't his caretaker. She doesn't have the responsibility for that. It's cruel, yes. But she has to just deal with his problems without his help. It's cruel to her. Comment 6. Yes, she is 100% leaving him because of his autism. If he was not autistic, she would stick around. He's not just an asshole. He has a disability she can no longer deal with. Downvote me all you want, but she should definitely be honest with him, especially since he has autism. He likely won't understand otherwise. Comment 7. Nope, she's leaving him because he doesn't help her and she feels isolated from the rest of the world. The only reason this behavior is in any way excusable is because he has a neurodivergent. If anything, one could argue she only stayed with him because he has autism, because without that explanation for the behavior, we'd all be calling him a man-child and probably worse things. He is not a man-child. He's neurodivergent, but he still isn't behaving like a partner. Comment 8. She's not leaving him because he has autism. She's leaving him because she can no longer live with some of the specific things caused by his autism. There's a huge difference. People with autism have their own individual struggles and concerns, and the levels of intensity vary vastly as well. If he were struggling with things that weren't causing such a disruption in her day-to-day life, she may not leave him. That's an important distinction. Comment 9. You're not leaving him because he's autistic. You're leaving him because he is unwilling to compromise. Take it from a married autistic man, marriage is still just as much a give and take as it is for neurotypicals. That being said, he may not realize the impact he is having on you. If he isn't, then it may be a good idea to, either through a series of conversations or therapy, express what you're feeling in a direct manner with specific examples, assuming you haven't done this already. Comment 10. You could tell him that you wanted a partner that equally helps with the house, but it's slowly become your sole responsibility. Marriages are about compromises, but it seems that you've been the one who has to do all the compromises to keep him happy, which has led to your resentment of him. Instead of him managing and taking responsibility for his new sensory issues, he's dealt with it by avoiding it. You're not divorcing him because of his autism, but because of always putting his needs first. You've come to realize that the two of you aren't compatible anymore and can't both have your needs met while keeping the other happy. Highlight comment. Can I also say that these are manageable things? I have ASD and extremely painful sensory processing, like your husband. But I still find ways of managing my house and life. For example, I don't like the vacuum, but I'll use a broom or set my little robot vacuum to do things when I'm not around. The same goes for the washing machine and dryer. I just set them for a time when I'm not around. I also have ear defenders, like concert plugs and noise-canceling headphones, that help me get through chaotic environments. I'll tend to pack away and do the dishes myself because I know I won't clang them, which would normally set off a migraine. I use gloves for nasty textures and have a predictable routine that helps with flexibility around unpredictable things. Also, when having your girlfriends over, does he not have a quiet space in his own home where he can go off and recharge? That's really necessary in general for sensory management. It would feel like chronic torture otherwise. It's not the ASD that's the reason. It's his approach to managing it and the way he's shifting the responsibility onto you. Has he ever gone to therapy or seen an occupational therapist for help on how to navigate adult life? Medication and therapy for both the physical and emotional pain changed my life. Maybe they can help him too? It is kind of disappointing that your reasoning behind this is because he has autism. And you don't want to make an effort to understand your partner's lifelong struggles or try to approach a workable solution. These are things that can be changed, somewhat easily too compared to other issues, and help him for the better. There are so many workable solutions that it is kind of frustrating. What I'd be more upset about is that he isn't trying to contribute to the maintenance of the house and relationship, which is not an autism thing. It's just male entitlement. Just don't blame him for something he can't change. He cannot change that he is autistic. He can change the way he manages it and be fair in supporting you. Be very, very clear with that distinction when you talk to him. Update. It's been 3 days since I posted about wanting to leave my husband because his autism has made it impossible for me to live a normal life. Some of you suggested that he may be using his autism to get out of doing housework, and I'm afraid you were not wrong. Yesterday, I sat him down and explained that the situation had reached a point where I am no longer happy, and I haven't been for a while. I told him that I no longer love him and that there is zero attraction left. However, I still care for him, and I assured him that I was willing to continue paying my share of the rent. We split everything 50-50ths, for 3 more months after I move out so that he has enough time to find a place that suits his needs. He did not take the news well at all. First, he begged me to reconsider, but I stood firm in my decision. Then he accused me of being ableist for leaving him because of his autism. After the tactic didn't work, he admitted that he had simply become too comfortable with me doing everything around the house and that he was now willing to go to therapy with me. Despite his willingness to make changes, I told him that my decision was final. I have already accepted the job offer and will be contacting a divorce lawyer next week. I also informed him that, while I still won't have people over out of respect for him, he will have to start doing his own chores from now on. Just a side note to everyone who assumed that he financed me. University is free here, and you get paid to do your PhD. I teach classes and do field work, so I have been financially independent throughout our relationship. Anyway, that's all for now. I'm excited for the future and am looking forward to being able to have friends over again without any restrictions. Thank you all for your support and advice during this difficult time. Relevant comments. One commenter shared, "My girlfriend and I both have chronic conditions, and she is autistic. I can just manage a day's work, and she can just manage a bit of housework each day. We both put in every ounce of energy we have to make life as best we can as a couple, and her autism doesn't stop that." Another commenter replied, "Well done to you two. It sounds like you're both giving it your all." A different commenter expressed surprise at OP's generosity. "I'm honestly surprised you're going to pay for half of his rent for 3 months. You should get your stuff, leave and only contact him through a lawyer. He's no longer your responsibility." Someone else replied, "OP, you're a really, really good person. I really hated the nasty comments some people left. Everyone was on their high horses, but I'm sure no one would put up with the nonsense you did. You get one shot to be happy in life, and you would have been miserable if you didn't make this change. Could you imagine if you wanted kids? You'd either have them with this guy or be forced to forego it to care for your spouse forever. Never let anyone think you did anything other than the exact right thing here. You're going above and beyond for him. Good luck, you deserve happiness." Another commenter encouraged OP, "Good on you for leaving and standing firm in your decision. You deserve to be happy and nothing less. You deserve to be valued and appreciated. I think your husband will see his fault in all of this, hiding behind his autism, and will be forced to stop doing it because you won't be around to take care of him. He's not your problem anymore." Finally, one commenter shared their personal experience. "I was diagnosed with Asperger's as a teenager. These days my condition is called high-functioning autism, and I do the most housework in my family during the week. He is not physically disabled. He's just using autism as an excuse, which is a shame. Good for you for realizing and getting out. I hope you can soon find someone who values you and isn't just taking advantage. All the best." Highlight comments. Comment 1, "I have had ADHD my entire life and was diagnosed at a very young age, before I was 5 years old, although back then they called it ADD. I ride longboards, but noises from people and traffic bother me, so I wear noise-canceling earbuds. I literally cannot balance on a longboard or skateboard unless I block out a lot of surrounding noise. I get vertigo and lose my balance even when I'm just standing if there are certain noises bothering me. I discovered that ADHD places me somewhere on the autism spectrum as well. While I have always had issues with noises, I do not make other people change their lives to revolve around me and my disorders. There are plenty of options available, such as noise-canceling headphones, earbuds, and earplugs, which this man could have used. He simply did not want to take these measures. My ex did the same kind of thing to me as well. In fact, my ex went as far as to fake his problems. I also have bipolar disorder, and my ex started lying to our doctor and pretending he had it too, using it as an excuse to abuse me at home. Every time he yelled at me, had a mood swing, or pushed me, he claimed it was because he was bipolar. The truth is, he is not bipolar. I am the one with bipolar disorder. I know this might sound harsh, but he might not even have autism in the first place. My ex read books on bipolar disorder to fake it better, and this man might have studied autism and blamed every bad habit on it. People do that, you know? My ex was getting medication for bipolar disorder but was stashing it without taking it. I found months and months of medication packages he was not using, despite getting them filled at the pharmacy to make it look like he was taking his meds. I have his container of meds and a package, and I've already shown it to a lawyer to prove that he lies about having mental health issues. Comment 2, I have ADHD and autism has been suspected but not yet diagnosed. Life can definitely be tough for me sometimes. I struggle with loud and dissonant noises, surprises, and unexpected changes. I get overwhelmed easily, tend to shut down, and experience major anxiety. I understand that it can make functioning difficult at times, and sometimes I need my significant other to be patient with me. However, it is still not an excuse to never do anything and hold your spouse's life hostage. In this case, the individual was definitely using excuses and taking advantage of the situation. Am I the A for defensively responding, "I'm sorry I was born this way," when my natural afro was accused of cultural appropriation by friends? I am a 19-year-old female. I am also a Caucasian person, which I think is relevant. I have a natural afro, similar to a Jufro or something like that. I am not exaggerating when I refer to it as an afro. It is a big, round puffball of curls from my head. I have a friend group, and almost all of us knew each other in high school. I am not sure exactly how relevant this detail is, but almost everyone in the group is a person of color. We get together every once in a while, and the last time we met up, the topic of cultural appropriation came up. Topics like this are not unusual for us, as we sometimes talk about political or societal issues. We all have the same left-wing beliefs, so it is easy for us to talk about these things. In the discussion about cultural appropriation, afros specifically came up. I did not think much of it for a while, as it makes sense to me that someone mimicking the hairstyle of people of color would be offensive. I did not really contribute to the conversation except for nodding along, as I agree with what they say but cannot really add to it since I am white. At some point in the conversation, I started to feel like people were looking at me. Not like conversational looks but more like looking me up and down before glancing away and repeating. I brushed this off, as I have had issues with social anxiety since I was little, so most of the time when I feel insecure, I figure it is just my anxiety bursting through my medication to bite me in the butt. However, after a few minutes of feeling this way, one friend commented on how weird it was that I have my hair in an afro despite being white. All of my friends are well aware that my hair is completely natural, and I do not do anything to get it this way, so I was taken aback. A few other people chimed in, saying things like I should straighten it, and that I was adding to racial tension and making people see me and think it is okay to appropriate afros. I snapped and said, "I am sorry I was born this way." I was using a loud tone, which I am not proud of, as I am very averse to anything that resembles yelling. I would not say I yelled, but I was speaking noticeably louder than the volume we had maintained. Some of my friends looked disappointed, while others looked kind of disgusted, and they all just left after that. If anything, I think I am the asshole for how I responded, but I am also asking if I am the asshole for having my hair like this. I would talk to other friends or family about this, but I am worried about them being disappointed in me. Any advice is appreciated. Update. Kind of. Thank you to all of you who commented, which by now is a surprising amount. I appreciate all of the advice you gave. I am still trying to get through all the comments and have not even begun to try to respond to any of them. I am not entirely sure if this counts as an update. I have spent a while mulling over the advice. An overwhelming number of you suggested that I stop considering these people friends, along with a lot of people who suggested that they may have never been friends in the first place. Reading responses has given me a new perspective on this, as I came here expecting to be the asshole but wanting more of a view of why and to what extent. To get it straight off the bat, I do not want to stop being friends with these guys unless it really comes down to it. I do not think this stems from prejudice or malice as some people believed. I think it rather came from ignorance and misunderstanding. I am going to reach out to them in the coming days and try to explain my renewed view, and maybe even share some of the comments with them. These are people I have known for years. We have helped each other through dark times and celebrated good times. If they are completely unreceptive, then I do not think we will remain friends, but I do not want to lose these people over something that can be worked out. My hope is that we can work through this and be better for it. Thanks especially to people expressing concern for my well-being and their views on similar matters. Even bigger thanks to those who expressed concern for my hair's well-being and the idea to use hair products made for people of color. For some reason that I can only attribute to sheer lack of attention to my hair and its health, I had never really considered this. When I think about it, I am coming out of this with friendship tips, worldview tips, and hair tips. I suppose more than anything right now, I am just tired. I feel like I need to just curl up in my bed for 3 days, but this is a bump in the road that I wish to overcome. I highly doubt I will update this. I decided not to post this on my main account so it would not be associated with browsing on this site for obvious reasons. I will try to get back to at least some comments. I guess more than anything, this update is just to say thanks for caring enough to give me advice, whether it was a single word or 3 paragraphs. Some comments that were donated and had many votes. Firstly, one commenter shared their experience. I'm black and went to a majority white all-girls school in the US. There was a white girl who had extremely thick and tightly wound hair. She hated it because she didn't know what to do with it. On a good day she wore it in a ponytail, but it was never combed through, and no one in her family knew what to do with her hair. I didn't really know her, but could see how thick her hair was. Years later I ran into her getting her hair done at a black salon. She said she had been coming here since college. Only the ignorant will accuse you of trying to be someone you are not. But FYI, go to a black hair salon, they will hook you up. In response, another person shared their positive experience with black hairstylists. OMG this. 100 score for the second I started working with a black hairstylist, my hair game changed completely. I had the most uneven haircut in my entire life, and she was like, yeah, because they wet your hair completely, and then comb it straight, then cut it. Also she changed my hair routine, wash schedule, products used, and how to refresh it. I used to think I could only have nice hair on wash days. Now I have nice hair 75% of the time. Additionally, another commenter mentioned their surprise at learning about haircuts. Oh my god, you just blew my mind. I'm a white male, but I wear my hair long and it's naturally very curly. Oh, I had been wondering why my haircuts always left me disappointed. I didn't even realize that the stylist wetting my hair before, combing it straight, and cutting it was adding to the problem. I've been avoiding getting haircuts for a while now because they always turn out like crap. I'm definitely going to see if I can find a black stylist in my area to do my next haircut. Moreover, someone else shared their experience with curly hair. Same. It is absolutely wild how many white people have absolutely no clue how to style curly hair. I say this as a white person with curly wavy hair. Afro type C curls are rare unless you're Jewish, but wavy curly hair in general is pretty common. Yet it's so insanely rare to meet anyone who knows curly hair. I used to think my hair was just always fluffy and bushy like Hermione, and I just had to straighten it. Nope. I just have wavy curly hair, and no one in my family had any clue how to teach me to style it properly, despite a quarter of them also having curly or wavy hair. Furthermore, another commenter offered practical advice. My friend and her guy came over to visit. He was growing his hair out. It was a frizzy mess. I said, I have an oil-free moisturizer that will make your hair look wet when it's dry. He looked at her for approval and she said, of course. I put it on his hair and told him to only wash it once a week. His hair looked spectacular with just a small amount. The product was Carefree Curl Gold. Must be put on dry hair for the best results. When I bought some at Sally's, the woman behind me checking out said that was the same product her hairstylist sold her for $20. It was $5. Anyone with thick curly hair needs to check out Ethnic Hair Care products. You will be pleasantly surprised. In addition, another commenter shared their concern about haircuts. This is actually so important because I need a haircut and I didn't know that they could potentially damage my newly grown curls. I got a buzz cut like 3 years ago to help with my trichotillomania, and it's since grown in with perfect curling iron type curls. It's actually kinda insane how my hair curls as if styled just by air drying after a shower. I think I'd be devastated if I went to get the back so trimmed, then left with half my curls literally done. I'd lose my mind. My hair is so important to me now. Next, someone firmly stated their opinion. Not the A. No one needs to change their natural self to please others. Another person found the situation bizarre. Yeah, this is bizarre. I can't imagine people genuinely telling someone that they need to straighten their hair to get rid of their natural hair texture to avoid cultural appropriation. It makes no sense and sounds like what people think liberals argue about, LMAO. Furthermore, another commenter explained, nah, I've known people like this. Some people are just dumb. It's an affectation of being of the age where you think you know everything because you haven't grown up enough to learn you don't know much, because the world is shades of gray. This isn't bashing any generation. It's a product of age and affects all generations. I roll my eyes at some of the things I adamantly crusaded about in my late teens and early 20s. In our first steps out alone in the world of new adulthood, we boil everything down to simple black and white to find our place in it. As we do, we start to see the layers and shades of gray. And believe me, when I was that age, nothing infuriated me more than someone older explaining this very thing. So I get that too. Someone else pointed out, having tightly coiled hair is not exclusive to black people. It's absolutely not cultural appropriation to wear your natural hair texture. Advocating that someone straightens their hair to reduce racial tension is exactly what the natural hair movement was advocating against. You are not the A. Another person found the friend's logic confusing. Wondering how they were discussing how people should not do something to their hair to avoid cultural appropriation but wanted her to do something to her hair so it does not look natural. OP is not the A. But can someone please make her friend's opinions make sense to me and possibly them? Moreover, another commenter clarified. The correct definition of cultural appropriation is when someone pretends to have created something that was created by people of another culture. The way it is used by most people is as a cudgel to take things from people over the color of their skin. In other words, cultural appropriation is being misappropriated by racists. Additionally, someone shared a strong opinion on the issue. Honestly, this is one of a few things I have strong feelings about. I feel that if cultural appropriation is used in this gatekeeping cudgel method, it will create more divisiveness in the long term, with people just not knowing as much about cultures in general. Most people experience new cultures, usually through food or clothing in the beginning, and if people start getting hesitant or nervous to try these new things, because they'll be judged as culturally appropriating them, it could really limit the growth of what people experience. And then when they get older, they have no experience of all these other cultures, so they just won't understand them, and it could lead to conflict. If you limit people from experiencing and understanding new cultures, you will end up creating intolerant people as they get older. Then, another commenter shared their personal experience. Exactly this. I have tight curls that I like to keep short, resulting in my hair being an afro. African Americans often refer to this style as natural. Guess what? It's natural for me too because that's what my hair does naturally. I would say something along the lines of, so you're allowed to have your hair natural. But I'm not. They need to get over themselves. Not the A at all. Finally, one commenter posted that OP is not the A. No one needs to change their natural self to please others. Relevant comments to the story. Firstly, one commenter shared their experience with their father's appearance and heritage. My dad's parents were born in Croatia. My dad had very dark skin. He tanned so dark that when he came to see me at a cheerleading practice, he was also the police chief in a small city, so well known. One of the other squad members, and this was a high school that was about 40% black, said, "I didn't know that your daddy wasn't white." He also had black hair, a prominent scimitar-style nose and blue eyes. That combination is very Turkish, and that's what he was often mistaken for. And, as I said, Croatia, which once had a significant Ottoman Empire presence as well as the Roman Empire. Edit to add, he also had very high cheekbones. Additionally, another commenter related to the situation. Exactly this. I have tight curls that I like to keep short, resulting in my hair being a fro. African Americans often refer to this style as natural. Guess what? It's natural for me too, because that's what my hair does naturally. I would say something along the lines of, so you're allowed to have your hair natural. But I'm not? They need to get over themselves. Not the A at all. Moreover, someone else shared their experience with classmates. I went to school with people who had 4C hair, and they were white-skinned and freckled, and their hair was white. I felt sorry for the girl because she always used to hide her hair in a bun with tufts sticking out. She really had no idea how to care for her hair, and she really resented it. It was some genetic throwback. She would get asked all the time if she was albino, i.e. black, but she wasn't. Replying to the third comment, another person said, "Yeah, that girl is me. Luckily I learned to braid it after high school, but I tell hairstylists how thick my hair is, and they don't get it until it's an hour later and they're only halfway through. When my brother shaved his head, it grew back out in a fro. I was never able to confirm it but always joked it was a Jew fro. During the summer, I have to double French braid it, or it's a nightmare because of how frizzy it gets. It makes me angry hearing people of color being expelled from school or asked to change their hairstyles at work when they wear it naturally. OP needs new friends. They are idiots." Another commenter shared their experience with a black stylist. My hair was ugly my whole life until I went to a black stylist. I'm whiter than radioactive mayonnaise, but my hair is very much not white people hair as my mom told me constantly growing up. My stylist is fantastic, also incredibly inclusive, and I never feel out of place there, and gave me the most fantastic cut I would have never ever chosen for myself. I would have thought it would look so bad on me, but they asked me if I was willing, and I said yes out of sheer frustration with what I'd been dealing with my whole life. I look so good now. My confidence is off the charts. Finally, another person shared their positive experience with a black hairstylist. I'm a pale, pasty white girl. I always had straight, maybe wavy hair most of my life. But my hair has become curly as I get older. More big ringlets. I started going to my hair lady a few years ago. She's black and is absolutely amazing. My hair has never looked so amazing, and the curls are incredible. I love it. She is most definitely the reason my hair is in the good condition it is, and the curls are the way they are. Am I the A for upsetting my coworker by calling her work sister after she called me work husband during an office happy hour in front of everyone? June 27, 2024. I, 34 years old, work in a small office with about 30 people. Mary, 35 years old, is one of my coworkers. We have been working together for 6 years now. Our department has 6 people, and we frequently travel across the state for government projects. We always travel in pairs, and although my travel partner changes based on the project, Mary and I are generally assigned to similar projects and enjoy each other's company. My wife also likes Mary. Overall, we have a very healthy work relationship. On to the incident. Yesterday, we had a happy hour at our office, and we were all drinking after work hours and chatting. A group of around 10 people stayed back. Mary was talking about how much we have traveled together in the last year. She was roasting me for my travel habits, like always forgetting stuff in my hotel room and being sweaty and stinky at breakfast because I go to the hotel gym. Everyone was laughing, and she made it sound like I was unbearable to travel with, all in good fun. I also shared some funny and sweet stories about her and agreed that I can be difficult to travel with sometimes. Mary came to me, hugged me tightly, and told me that she loves me and that I am her work husband. Although it was innocent on the surface, she might have been a bit drunk and didn't let go of her tight hug. I also hate that phrase because I have a wife whom I promise to be with forever, not just during non-working hours. After a few seconds, I started feeling uncomfortable and noticed a few people staring at us. To defuse the situation, I gently took her hands off my shoulders and told her she was my work sister and that's why I love to annoy her so much. This upset Mary, and she left, went back to her desk and sobbed silently. I tried to apologize, but she expressed how embarrassing the whole situation was. She said she meant work husband in a platonic way, but calling her work sister made her sound like a creep in front of the office. She was also angry that I removed her hands from my shoulders while hugging. I tried to explain that I disliked the work husband phrase and noticed people giving dirty looks when she said it. I was just trying to ensure people didn't take her words the wrong way. We talked for a few minutes afterward and Mary calmed down. She hugged me again and left. I felt really guilty afterward because I saw Mary's point. I made her sound like a creep by implying she meant something inappropriate by calling me her work husband. However, I was uncomfortable in that situation and didn't want people to call us that or assume something wrong. Am I the asshole for calling Mary my work sister? I am sitting in my office writing this and worried if I embarrassed Mary in front of everyone. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. You're not the A. All too often, work spouses end up being inappropriately involved and you were trying to head off any rumors. Good on you. I think work sister is a much better term. Commenter 2. You didn't do anything wrong. Not the A. To my mind, she raises a red flag by being so upset about it. It meant more to her than it did to you. You may need to set a boundary of not traveling with her. Commenter 3. Not the A, though you're being far too generous. The reason why she jumped straight to thinking you were calling her a creep, because she knew what she was doing was inappropriate. Work husband is considered widely inappropriate now. She knows this. You responded correctly. You owe your actual wife loyalty. Mary needs to back off and act more of a professional. Commenter 4. Not the A. I think you were justified that whole time. Unfortunately, alcohol can make things awkward for everyone, but you were made uncomfortable by the extended hug, so you removing her arms from you was understandable. The problem right now is that Mary is only considering her own feelings and not thinking at all how her actions made you feel. She did think that such a public display of affection might make a married man uncomfortable. She's only thinking that you made her look like a creep. And let's be honest, she did kind of look like someone hitting on a married man after drinking too much. Commenter 5. Not the A. Work sister is 100% a compliment. Work husband is the stuff that will get a person reported to HR. Mary is waving bright red flags. You might want to get ahead of this now. All your colleagues are suspicious. No more being paired with Mary. Consider telling your wife before one of them does. Commenter 6. The best way to know that you needed to set a limit was her overreacting. Sobbing at her desk. It was time to stop it. If she tries to bring it up again, repeat what you said. She's a great co-worker, but you only have one wife, so you don't do the work-wife jokes. Nothing personal, but it's not for you. If she brings it up a second time, you'll need to email your supervisor to get written documentation. You just describe what happened, as you did above, when and where, and that you'd like them to informally coach her on letting it go. If she brings it up a third time, you'll need to go to HR and ask to be taken off projects involving travel with her. I really hope she can pull it together and that she can join you in cheerfully going back to work. But remember that it's her making this weird, not you, and your first responsibility is to preserve your own employment. Commenter 7. Mary's point only is valid if Mary is humiliated by a sisterly relationship when she was going for more. The I love you, the long emotional hug not letting go, says OP needs to be paired with someone else on work trips for a while. And OP, shower before breakfast in public. Mary is not the only one who can smell your body odor or who has to sit in the chair you were sweating in. No one needs that much visibility into your body smells and fluids. Too much closeness. Editor's note. I looked through the comments and didn't find a single "you're the asshole, everyone sucks here," or "no assholes here." It was universally not the asshole. Update, July 2nd, 2024. I posted this about calling my co-worker Mary my work sister after she tried to call me her work husband in front of the entire office. A lot of you are asking for an update, but that sub does not allow me to post an update, so I'm writing it here. Thanks everyone for your comments and giving me confidence that I did not do anything wrong or inappropriate. As I was sitting in the office the next day, I knew things would be a bit awkward between Mary and me. Mary ignored me the whole morning. Initially, I was planning to go and apologize to her, but after the post, I decided that I do not need to do that as I should be the one who was offended. Everyone in the office could see that we were acting weird, and I heard some people gossiping about us. One of the ladies also came to me and asked me if I wanted to talk about Mary and me. Around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I was sitting in my office working. Mary came into my office and closed the door behind her. She was angry at me and started saying that I need to stop being an asshole and stop ignoring her. I told her to sit and to talk about what is going on. She told me that she feels humiliated, and everyone has been staring at her the whole morning because of what I did. I also stood my ground and told her that I was okay with her making fun of me, but calling me her work husband and hugging me in front of everyone for a long time made the situation awkward. She told me to get over myself and that I should know exactly what she meant. Mary said that I made a big deal of what was supposed to be a joke and made it awkward for everyone. She said calling someone work husband is a normal thing and just means that she knows me intimately like a spouse would. She said that because we spend so much time traveling together, she knows all the intimate details of how I behave outside work. I stopped her and told her that I felt offended by the term work husband, because I have a wife and I do not want people to use that term to describe our relationship. I told her that she would not understand as she is single, but as a married man, I really do not want anyone to describe me as a husband in any capacity. She said that I am again misinterpreting what she was saying. She felt that as we have known each other more times than I have been married, she knows me more intimately than even my wife. I have no idea why she feels that way, and I also behave like her husband when we travel together. She went on about how we go out to dinners together after work, how I always insist on having breakfast together in the morning, to plan our actions of the day, and I walk around in my underwear, referring to my gym shorts, around her in the mornings. She also talked about how we spend hours talking to each other during road trips and how I am the only man she can trust with any secret in her life. She said that I am the definition of a work husband, and I am just in denial. I was a bit angry at this point. I told her that I do all that because I consider her my friend and she is delusional if she feels she knows me more intimately than my wife. I told her I do not want to hear that term again and it is extremely disrespectful to my marriage. Only one woman gets to call me her husband and that is my wife. Moreover, if my actions are giving her such ideas, maybe we need to stop being friends. She became apologetic afterwards and told me that she did not mean to disrespect my wife, and it was not her intention. She apologized to me and told me to just let it go. She said that she loves traveling with me and she doesn't want anything to change between us. She again said that I am misinterpreting her statement and just wants to move on. She came to hug me again, but I just told her it was okay and stepped back. I also talked to my wife about the incident that night. As expected, my wife was angry at Mary and told me that she hates the term work husband. She asked me if Mary has ever flirted with me during our trips or has a crush on me. I truthfully told her that I really have not felt that way and she may have just said that because she was a bit drunk and is now being stubborn about it. My wife said that she feels a bit uncomfortable about Mary now and says that it's strike one for Mary and I need to try and put more distance between us while traveling. If she ever repeats the same behavior again, I should report her to HR. I promised my wife that I would try to reduce my interactions with Mary outside work hours and be more guarded around her. Relevant comments. Commenter 8. Mary's description of your relationship sounds really clingy and dependent. She has created a narrative in her head about your connection. You're the only man she can trust with any secret in her life. That's not a work husband, whatever that means. You better keep your interactions register in public, this can bite you in the butt very fast. Commenter 9, not the A. I agree you should go to HR so they're aware of the situation. I would also suggest no more business trips with her if possible. The fact that she claims to know you more intimately than your wife is not only delusional and disrespectful, it's concerning. She's only beginning to show her crazy side. Commenter 10, not the A. I also think that if you're married, the terms work husband or wife are very inappropriate. Your wife sounds like a very reasonable person. She's upset but not taking it out on you. You made the right call, and if anything you could even get ahead of the game by going to HR now about the situation. OP, just curious, but what would the HR complaint even be? I feel uncomfortable about the situation, but beyond speculation, I do not see what I can complain about. Commenter 11. Hey HR person, I would like to file something with you just so it's on record. At the moment it feels like things are resolved, but just in case something else happens in the future I just want to cover all bases. Here's what happened. Here's what I did about it. Here's what Mary's response was. Here's where things are at now. I don't want anyone to have another conversation with her at this time because I believe it will escalate things instead of letting things die down. But if she doesn't let things go, I wanted HR to be in the loop. Commenter 12. Not the A, I agree with you, wife. Mary's reaction was so often defensive. Instead of owning it and apologizing, she continued to double down and say that she knew you more intimately. She is quite the presumptuous woman. I 100% believe that this woman has romantic feelings for you, and all these comments about work husband and the ever-lingering hug plus saying she knows you better and more intimately do not speak of someone who has a platonic friendship or professional relationship in mind. I would not travel with her anymore and see if you can put some distance with her and not have to work with her. This woman is going to cause trouble for you. Her reaction was one of possession over you, which comes when someone has amorous feelings. Commenter 13. Okay, never, and I do mean never, be in a room alone with this woman ever again, cause when you go to HR, and you definitely should, in retaliation she could spin any number of accusations against you now, even if you don't think she is capable of that kind of behavior. You're having trouble right now because she is acting in a manner you would not have expected from her. Not the A. Commenter 14. Hopefully you don't have to travel with her, but if they can't change it and you are stuck with Mary, then from here on out no more eating breakfast with her. No more grading meals together. Spend that time FaceTiming your wife, have a breakfast, lunch, dinner date over FaceTime. Let Mary eat alone. Or you take your meals in your room. No more walking around in your gym clothes around Mary. She has already twisted it by saying it was your underwear. If you need to speak to her about anything that has to do with work, simply text her. There's no need to have breakfast with her to talk it over since she already got the wrong impression of you. Keep it through text, no phone calls, just text her. You have your meals separate and have your rooms on the opposite side if need be. Don't ask her to hang out during downtime while traveling. Let her do her and you keep to yourself. Hopefully your work will gladly change you both. Update, edited in post, 8 hours later. Thanks everyone for the comments and explaining the urgency of the situation. I discussed it with my wife and have set up meetings with my manager and HR today. I plan to not file a complaint, but document what happened last week and why it made me uncomfortable. I do not have any upcoming travels this week due to holidays, but have to travel next Tuesday with her to a work site. I will discuss with my manager what my options are. However, I feel a little distance between Mary and me for some time would be the right solution for now. Editor's note, OP has reported the situation to HR, but he is traveling today according to the above update with her, and there could be further issues, so I am marking this as ongoing.